Congressman Jordan joins us now on the line. Congressman, some pretty sharp questioning last night. As you went through this hearing, what was your assessment of it all?
Well, I think, like American people, you just can't believe it. The Shazam, they just vanished. They just disappeared. I mean, are you kidding me? So what I tried to focus on was the timeline. That when the IRS knew, Mr. Koskinen knew that there was a problem with Lois Lerner's computer in February of this year. Then he knew there were some emails that weren't there. They were trying to recover them, but he knew that they had lost some emails in March of this year. And then in late March, he comes and talks in front of our committee and doesn't tell us that information. And yet somehow just a few weeks later, the White House learns that the emails have vanished, and we in Congress don't learn until June. And so what I tried to focus on is, why didn't you tell us the same time you told the White House? Why did you tell your political buddies at the White House in early April that the emails were gone, and waited 2 more months, page 5 of a big old long letter that you sent to the Senate Finance Chairman, Mr. Wyden, to tell Congress? That to me is part of the problem. Is like, why weren't you forthcoming? And he gave all kinds of reasons. Well, we were looking, we didn't know for sure, and all this other thing. But the fact is, you knew ahead of time. You told the White House, or at least someone at the IRS, according to his testimony, someone at the IRS informed Treasury, and they informed the White House. But Congress didn't know until June.
Congressman Jim Jordan from Ohio is our guest. We're talking about this hearing last night and just the whole story, this whole scandal over the missing emails now. And Congressman Jordan, a lot of people are watching this. They see Representative Paul Ryan earlier in the week say to Commissioner Koskinen that he doesn't believe his testimony. We saw the fireworks between yourself and the commissioner and Darrell Issa and the commissioner. The emails are missing. The hard drive is destroyed. Lois Lerner is pleading the fifth. Everything the administration has said about this seems to be false with regard to not a smidgen of corruption and the fact that it was not just 2 rogue agents in Ohio. So given all of that, and given the fact that Eric Holder, the Attorney General, is not doing anything about this, what are you going to do about it? What is the Republican-led majority in the House finally going to do about this, since the Department of Justice isn't doing anything?
A, you keep digging for the truth. B, you keep reminding them that 26 Democrats had the courage to vote with every single Republican demanding a special prosecutor. The Dallas Morning News yesterday said we need a special prosecutor. The Chicago Tribune said we need a special prosecutor. At some point, I'm waiting for one person in this administration to be courageous enough to stand up and say, you know what, this is of such significance. This deals with First Amendment free speech rights. We do need a special prosecutor because the Justice Department investigation is a complete joke. When they leaked to the FBI earlier this year, January 13th this year, that no one was going to be prosecuted, when the president goes on national television and said there's no corruption, not even a smidgen, and when the person heading the investigation, Barbara Bosserman, is a max-out contributor to the president's campaign, it's a joke. Everyone sees it now, and now when you throw in, we lost the emails, and when we learned 2 weeks ago that the FBI was working with the IRS clear back in 2010 when this targeting started, and that the IRS sent the FBI 1.1 million pages of information on C4 organizations. Yeah. All that demands a special prosecutor. So we will keep demanding that, drawing attention to that, and hopefully at some point, as I said, you get someone with the courage that 26 Democrats had just 5 weeks ago, when here in the House, 26 of them voted with every single Republican saying we need a special prosecutor.
Now, there is a new development that's going to take place this morning. Maybe you can give me an update on where we stand with it. It has to do with Jennifer O'Connor.
Yeah.
Now, she worked for the acting IRS Director Werfel's office as in the counsel's office, and was there when they were gathering up all of these documents initially. And then now she works over at the White House counsel's office. And Chairman Issa said, look, we'd like you to come and testify. And she declined that invitation, or at least the White House did for her. So where are we now? Because there's a subpoena, right?
Yeah, my understanding is late last night that she's coming this morning. Now, I've not heard anything new this morning, but late last night when we were concluding the hearing, my understanding is Jen O'Connor will be in front of the Oversight Committee at 9:30 this morning.
So they will respond to the subpoena after initially declining the casual invitation.
Yeah, I think what happened was there was the threat of a subpoena, and sometimes that's as good as a subpoena itself. And my understanding is she is, in fact, will be in front of the committee today. But you're right; she's the person who's been sent in to fix things. She when the scandal broke in May of 2013, she went to the IRS to work on that. She went all the way till November of 2013, and then you had to mess with the rollout of healthcare.gov, and so she went over to HHS, and now she's at the White House. They handle all kinds of scandals that they're dealing with. So, yeah, she is, I think, a pretty important lawyer for the president, and we're going to have her in front of the committee this morning, I believe.
Representative Jordan, we have the benefit here on WMAL every morning to speak with a lot of people who work in government, and they know the rules with regard to email retention, with regard to backup, with regard to servers backing up. And when we talk about this issue, our lines get jammed with people saying, this is impossible. There has to be a backup of these emails. They have broken every kind of regulation, if not. Are you pulling on that thread, and are you getting other IT experts who understand these things to come in and try to find these emails?
Yes, totally, because it just doesn't. You know, earlier we talked about when you run through the pattern of this whole scandal. First, they denied it. Remember, we had Doug Shulman, former commissioner, come in front of the Ways and Means Committee and say, "I can give you assurances there's no targeting taking place." Then they tried to spin it. Remember, Lois Lerner, before the Inspector General's report, went to a bar association speech here in town, had a planted question, and tried to put her spin on the story. Then they blamed someone else. Wasn't Washington. It was 2 rogue agents in Cincinnati. And then they even went to the old let's attack the messenger, let's attack the fact finder. They said the IG's report was flawed. And now they're to the point where you hide the evidence. You lose the evidence. And so this whole pattern, that's why Congressman Ryan was right. No one believes these guys anymore. In light of that whole pattern, of course, the American people are saying you guys can't be trusted. So we've got to do everything we can with the IT experts, with the sharp kids who can figure out how to get into these things and where these things are at. We got to use all that so we can find these emails and get to the truth.
All right. So ultimately, how do you if they say there are emails are not there, that's pretty much a dead end, isn't it? Are there any other options that you have?
Well, you get hold of the computer. You get all the hard drives, and you send in our people, our tech people.
But they say that the hard drive has been recycled.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was an important question asked last night by a colleague, Congressman Massey, said, because if you remember when this thing crashed was back in 2011, and right before her computer supposedly crashed, there was a letter sent by the Ways and Means Chairman, Dave Camp, inquiring about the potential targeting of conservative groups. Shortly thereafter, her computer crashes. So we'd like to know, and the question Mr. Massey asked last night was, how many other employees at the Internal Revenue Service had a computer crash at the same time frame? Because it's somewhat coincidental that 10 days after she gets this letter, her computer mysteriously crashes and we lose all the emails.
Oh, I had not heard that. Now, that's interesting. So 10 days after Camp first raises a flag that this is something I'm interested in, her computer crashes. What a coincidence! Well, this story is just so full of coincidences, Congressman.
It boggles the mind when you think about this. So that was, I thought, a great question. There's a time slip filed when you have a problem with your computer. There's a time slip. The tech person comes in and look at it, and Congressman Massey asks, how many other time slips were filed in that same time frame? Let's just go to the month of June of the 2011 when this took place. How many other times? Because then you can start looking into probabilities. And if hers was the only one or no one else in the whole place, then you start saying, wait a minute, this is just more than a coincidence here, which is, of course, what we all suspect.
Well, fascinating stuff, and thank you so much for staying on this story.
You bet. Thank you.
Congressman Jim Jordan, who's a member of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee.